Mahatma Gandhi, who tries to reconcile a religious Hinduism, a commitment to Hinduism, with this negationist line of saying friendly things about Islam. Like he said, Islam is a noble faith. But under Nehru, this really becomes an ideology. Until then, you get some vague ideas, sayings that are also explained by the context in which they are said. You know, there's not yet a very firm conviction. But under Nehru, this becomes an ideology. Nehru very much turns against the majority, which happens to be Hindu. In that respect, he was supported by people who sometimes also were his enemies on other fronts, namely the communists. The communists were very strongly against majorities in general and against Hinduism in particular. For example, in the 1940s, they supported the Muslim League in its demand for partition. Of course, after partition, the first people to flee East Bengal, which had become East Pakistan, were the communists, because they were persecuted by the Muslims. Just like in Afghanistan, it is the communists who fought and who were fought by the Mujahideen, the Islamic forces. Just like in Iran, the communists joined hands with the Islamists to oust the Shah, but later they themselves were massacred by the Islamists. So it is a very uneven and unequal and unstable alliance. Nevertheless, it is an alliance that materializes at some point. So the communists frequently support the Muslim cause. And in India, the Hindus act as a buffer between the dangers that Islam poses and communist ideology. So there they can keep on being friends with the Muslims, making common cause with the Muslims, because they are not dealing with an Islamic regime. As soon as they have their way and Muslims come to power, then of course they would have to be the first to flee. But you see, that is some way off, so they can go on supporting Islamic causes. And in this case, of course, they are the greatest promoters of negationism. In the 1960s, there was a political intrigue inside the Congress party, where Indira Gandhi sought to come to power. Now, she was supported against the other faction in Congress by the communists. And so, as part of the deal between her and the communists, she left to the communists the policy making concerning culture and education. Especially her son Sanjay Gandhi worked out this whole policy, and like a typical politician, you know, what interested him was political power, and the cultural, educational aspects, you know, that was a bargaining chip. So to the Marxists who were interested in these fields, he gave the control of these fields and got as much political power for his family and for his faction in the Congress party, which indeed won the power struggle, but had given away the cultural field to the Marxists. And so, headed by Marxists like P.N. Haksar and Nurul Hasan, negationism really became dominant and started controlling all the history books. And so what you find in history books still today is crass negationism. For example, on the Ayodhya issue, the textbooks nowadays say that, okay, yes, maybe Muslim armies here or there destroyed a temple or two, not too many, but yes, if you can point out one, okay, we will not deny it. But, it says, all religions did that. And then it finds a case where some Hindu king, nondescript, has or is said to have destroyed another temple. Or at least, not even that, to have stolen the idol from another temple. And so they equate that with the Islamic campaign of temple destruction, which they minimize. So the uniqueness of the Islamic attitude towards the infidels and their religion is downplayed grossly and systematically. The BJP tried to bring glasnost, openness, reform to this situation in 2002 when the BJP was in government. But what followed was unfortunately a horror show of incompetence where the BJP tried to rewrite the textbooks and did a very inconsistent, very bad job. And so once the Congress came back to power, it had no problem at all justifying a return to the old textbooks or a rewriting of the old textbooks, which, of course, again, would follow the negationist line. So negationism is with us.